So I am Alfonso Tenore and I'm a senior high school student in Foggia, and I'm a free researcher. So I make researches about local history, mainly related to World War II, uh, especially World War II Air Force. And the presentation that I'm gonna show you today is about one of these researches about a B-24 bomber that crashed in near Foggia, in a town near Foggia called Acadia on December 25, 1944. So here we go. Okay, so the B-24 that crashed in Acadia was a B-24 B-24J built in Ford Motor Company in Michigan. I think that maybe some of you will heard about the famous Willow Run industry that was located there, and that's where the bomber was built. And Jennie Lee, that was the nickname of the bomber, flew a total of 24 combat missions above strategic targets scattered in Europe. It bombed also Italy, northern Italy, Greece, Hungary, Germany, and so forth. So Gianelli, as I said, was assigned to the 455th bomb group that was its airfield was located in Cerignola during the staying in Italy, and especially to the 740th bomb squadron. So how Gianelli crashed? On December 25, the 455th bomb group launched the number 170 mission to bomb the Brux oil refineries in Czechoslovakia. There were 27 scheduled bombers from this group that would then join the other bombers of other bomb groups of the same wing. And Jenny Lee was scheduled in D box, dog box. This would have been the 24th sortie combat mission for Jenny Lee. The Jenny crew for that mission was made by a rookie crew. I want to say that in particular this detail about the rookie crew might not be corrected because uh, I still don't have all the documents to research all the missions fought by every man on this plane. But some of them were not seen in other reports, so it's assumed that it was a rookie crew. So it was a crew that flew the majority of the crewmen flew less than 5 missions, and so it can be called like that. Like every B-24 crew, it was made by 4 officers, pilot, co-pilot, bombardier, and navigator, and 6 non-commissioned officers that were gunners, flight engineer, radio operator, and so forth. These are the officers of the Jenny Lee crew. We have pilot First Lieutenant Wendell Binkley, that was 25 years old. And I want to add that the jacket that I'm wearing right now is a reproduction of the jacket that he would have worn. This is I don't know if you can see it, this is the patch of the 740th Bomb Squadron. And there are also other details like the 48 Stars flag, the 15 Air Force patch, and the First Lieutenant bars, together with the pilot wings and name tag. I know the lighting is the best, isn't the best, but you should have an idea of the jacket he was wearing back then. There are also the missions that he flew, and so keeping our topic, there was also co-pilot, second lieutenant Lyman James Bensinger Jr. that was just 21 years old. Then bombardier second lieutenant Marvy Arbit, 26 years old, and navigator Robert Earl Marsh, 19 years old. That's it's just 1 year older than me. Then we have the non-com officers, and we have a flight engineer Norman B. Miller, that was 20 years old, radio operator Elmer Roscoe Tacey, that was 19 years old, gunner Staff Sergeant Dwayne Sidney Jordan was 20 years old, gunner Herman Frederick Rattian Jr., that sadly I don't know how old he was because sadly I couldn't locate any any document that confirmed to me my age, but I can, as you can see, you can already figure out how young he was. And then we have Peter Charles Demetriou, that was 21 years old, and Edwin Stanley Gaminski, that was 23 years old. Uh, if I pointed out the ages of all the men, it's because I want to make people realize how young these servicemen were, and to me it was a kind of a shock when I discovered how young in general the boys that served and the boys that died during the war were literally just a year above me. So, coming back to the mission, the takeoff was scheduled for 8:25 in the morning, and the B-24s of the 455th Bomb Group would have joined formation on Cerignola just after 9 a.m. Uh, on formation, there were already huge issues. For example, the second attack unit, there were two attack units in the formation of this bomb group, aborted the mission because of the terrible weather. And another thing that was missing in that attack unit was exactly Jennie Lee. In fact, the far right position of the dog box was missing a bomber. This was the location that was assigned to Lieutenant Binkley, that was the pilot of Jennie Lee. So, what happened? When the Binkley crew took off, probably because, of course, we don't have a specific report that could confirm this. Uh, they circled around, waiting for the right time to join information. As you could understand, there was around a span of 30 minutes between takeoff and the moment of the build-up of the formation. And so maybe during this time, the bomber could have been circling. And like I said, the weather was really, really bad. There was an overcast. It was from the from what the eyewitnesses told, it was raining hard, it was snowing. Also, the statement of the missing aircrew report confirmed this. So the plane basically started to circle blindly, and was flying probably at instruments at the time. Of course, they had a navigator, but we can understand that back then they did not have the systems that we have today to navigate. And so basically, what we can say is that they were flying blindly. So at a certain point, just before the sad moment, the tragic moment of the crash, the plane was located in the mountainous area of the Monti Downi, the Daunian Mountains, which is a zone of Apulia located to its border, where basically there is uh, a long chain of mountains, and Jenny Lee was in reality just at the end of these mountains. But then we can see what happened. So it was right, it was about 9:30 in the morning when the Jenny Lee was just before the last mountain, before of the Great Plain of the Tavoliere di Puglia, which is a great plain where Foggia is located. And it's the reason why so many airfields were built around Foggia, because it's basically a and huge plain where there is space for build a lot of airfields. So Giannini was just before the last mountains in near the town of Accadia, where he would have made it to then to the plain and then Cerignola, where he would have found the group or the airfield. But sadly, that's not what happened that day. In fact, loaded of fuel of the bombs, Genili crashed at full speed on the top of a mountain near Arcadia, and when it crashed, basically the plane was flying just beyond the top of the mountain. In fact, the witnesses told me many times when I interviewed them about the crash that if it flew just some meters higher, it probably would have made it. But sadly, that's not what happened. And so, because he was flying so near the top of the mountain, Jennie Lee, the B-24, smashed on the top, and already at that point there was an explosion. Maybe of the bombs did not explode, as you can read in the statement, but the fuel tanks exploded. This was confirmed also by tales of the eyewitnesses, and it bumped on the top of the mountain, but it crashed definitely on the other side of the mountain, where the fire, the greatest fire and the greatest explosions that then happened. And that's where maybe all the crew members were killed. So the impact and the explosions were so strong that they were very strongly remembered by the eyewitnesses that I could talk with. And I want to add that if I could accomplish the mission of the research of the Jenny Lee bomber, it's especially it's maybe I don't want to say it's only, but a great part it's because of the availability of the eyewitnesses that gave me vital information, instrumental informations for the accomplishment of the research. And also, it was very, very motivating to see all these people of another generation talk with me at the time. As you can see in the picture, I was a little bit younger. I was 16, now I am 18. And so see their excitement, their commitment in what I was doing. I also brought to them, as you can see in the second picture, pictures of the crew, pictures of the aircraft of the airfield of the 455th Bomb Group to show them what they on seen when they were children. And so this was really it was really emotional. Here I put um some testimonies of the eyewitnesses, and so I will read them to you. Michele Basilico is 19 is I can't remember how much old he is, but he was born in 1939 in Acadia. And in the picture that you can see, which is the one on the left, he's holding, as you can see, a lid of a pot. That pot, that lid, is actually made from of aluminum of the aircraft and was made by his dad. In fact, when the plane crashed, for some days it was left there, and actually the majority of the aircraft parts were abandoned there, like it happened often in crashes. And so people of nearby towns of Acadia or also another town, Deliceto, would go there and collect pieces of the aircraft. And that's a direct testimony of it, and a testimony of what was done with these pieces. So Michele said, I was sitting with my family around the fireplace. I heard a massive roar, a thunderous background noise. Then there is Lorenzo Paoletta. Lorenzo Paoletta was born in 1936 in Acadia, and his family lived just around a mile or so from the crash site. They did not live in the town. They lived in the countryside. And he was not on on the place when the aircraft crashed, but his parents was. So they were uh, they were some of the first persons to get on the crash site, and he told me that they always spoke to him about how tragic, how horrendous this crash was. So he said, "I was in Acadia, but my parents were on the site. At some point, they thought there was an earthquake." The earthquake. They got out and saw the world destroyed on the mount. So he told me that when the aircraft crashed, it was Christmas morning, and his parents were still sleeping. And so they heard this enormous explosion, and the ground shook. And they got out of bed and scared. They went out to check. One of the first sights that his father had was a milestone of the old farm that was there was destroyed by a piece that flew, but he did not understand this on the moment and then realized it. And when he turned to see the mountain, he saw the mountain uh, full of metallic pieces that were shining. He said to me, "If you he saw the mountain shining," and then of course he realized that it was a bomber that crashed when he got nearby it, and he saw the fires and all the hell that broke loose there. Then we have Antonio Schiavone. Antonio Schiavone was a relative, is a cousin of Dolenzo that you can see on the right. So Antonio also was not there in the moment, but his his uncle that was Lorenzo's father, and also other relatives were there, but not like Lorenzo that stayed in Accadia even after the crash. Antonio was one of the first people to run on the crash site after after some days before the Americans got there. And he told, "I saw the dead. They were here, aligned, covered by some bears." This is a report of something that he said to me when we were on the crash site. I'll then show where what he's talking about. As you can understand, he's talking about a specific zone. So, in the fields for various years, the unexploded bombs sat there. Playing with a fuse, me and my cousin were injured when it exploded. That's an interesting detail because, as you can understand, even after years, parts of the plane were still there, even hazardous parts of the plane, for example, T-bombs. And he told me that actually it was pretty annoying every time that they were working in the fields to move these huge pieces of aircraft far from the fields. He said to me that they had a donkey and they would load the donkey with these metal parts, aluminum parts, and so forth, and then move them to the nearby woods that you can see also in the background picture. And there the people would go and steal every ounce of it because back then also aluminum was pretty valuable. Then we have the last eyewitness, Gerardo Maulucci. And Gerardo is the only person I met, of course. I don't know if there are others, I think so, that saw the bodies not before they were recovered by locals or the American authorities. In fact, he was one of the luckiest, maybe. I don't know if I can say lucky because the site was pretty horrifying, that got to the crash site. And he said, when I went myself, after 2 or 3 days from the accident date, we found all the dead scattered in the area. Four bodies, carbonized, of whom only the skeletons were recognizable, were in the cockpit. So, as you can understand, Gerardo got on the zone at a site of the zone frozen in time. We can say it was the the picture of the horrifying event that the crash was. And he also said to me that he noticed that all the bodies were did not have on them jackets, shirts, and so forth, because before him, other people reached the dead bodies, and they did not have mercy of the dead, and they robbed everything they could. This is actually sadly, it's something that often happened with crashes, and they really did not have any mercy of the bodies. Also, sometimes in another crash that I researched, for example, a C-47 that crashed in a town in Campania, um, the locals did not have problems to cut fingers of the dead bodies, to steal rings. They stole watches, and yeah, that was a pretty horrifying thing that was done back then. So we are concluding with my presentation, and again I want to highlight of how these men, these boys of 19, 20, 21 years old, as you could see from the biographies I put in the presentation, were just young men far from their homes, that fought a war that mm, maybe did not relate a lot with them. And besides what the last part is an extract from an historical essay I wrote on this aircraft. It's in Italian. I wrote that back in May. It was part of a contest that I won. And so, beyond what remains purely historical research, it is a human adventure to rediscover, to remember, to pause for a moment and dedicate a thought to those young men who died in the flower of their youth, so far from home in the man's tragedy of war, lest we forget. So that's it.
Thanks, Alfonso. Very good. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how to get it there yet, but essentially in the same scale as Marco's P-51D, I can build a B-24J, and we can have it be the same aircraft, Jenny Lee, and I
Yeah.
can, and we can take some photographs from, before this crash, and add the people into the diorama so that it will
Oh, yeah.
memorialize them. So we'll talk about that in the future. So,
Alfonso, that was fabulous. That was the most
Thank you.
amazing presentation I have seen in a very long time. Thank you,
Thank you a
thank
lot.
you, thank you for putting all that together. That was really
It's an honor
incredible.
to me. Thank you.
I agree. It was excellent. You did a great job, Alfonso.
Thank you a lot.
yeah, thanks, Alfonso. Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, Alfonso, I want to echo that. Really amazing. Couple of things about the crew. First of all, where are they buried? Secondly, have you made any contact? Have you had any communication with their family at all? Has anybody, been in touch with you because they've heard about what you're doing? And thirdly, the site itself, I suppose, is completely cleared now. Is there any plan for any sort of memorialization plaque in the area so people know where it is?
Okay, so answering the first question, the majority of the bodies were returned to the US, but two servicemen, two of the non-commissioned officers, the what should be the tail gunner and another gunner are buried in Nettuno. In fact, I wanted to visit them someday. And answering the second question, it's quite difficult to trace back these families because all I have it's literally the name of the fallen man and the address, but honestly, an old address does not add anything. But I could trace back around, I think, four or five families. And what is really exciting is that the son of the pilot is also the guy that owned this jacket that I'm wearing, is still alive. He was born in 1940, so now he should be 85. And also, I could contact the family of the bombardier, which was really available to me to share informations. They shared, for example, a letter, uh, pictures of the bombardier wings that he was wearing, of course, not at the moment. And then I could also only talk with with the other families of two other servicemen. And the last question was about any if there's anything in the area. No, but I talked with the major. This research was done together with the municipality of Arcadia, and he was really interested in doing something, also inviting people of America. For example, the president of the 455th Bomb Group Association wanted to come to Italy for the first time in his life to visit Arcadia, so the Jennie Lee crash site, and also the former airfield of the 455th Bomb Group, which is now a huge wet field, like you could see in Campomarino. And so, no, for the moment, there's nothing, but hopefully we will do a celebration on it and we will place a plaque also.
So let me ask you a question. I've written about it and I've diagrammed it, and so I understand the combat box, but I'm sure a few of the people who are in this call, and maybe a few who will see your recording, will know what the bomber formations combat box was. Do you have anything that can explain that, or can you describe it?
I can share a picture of it so it can be easier to explain.
Yeah, and then the position that Jennie Lee would have taken in it. And this is in the book I did on the Eighth Air Force is described, and I'll send that to you so you can see what he said. But I think it's worthwhile if you have anything you can show and explain what the combat box is.
Okay, so I can take a picture of it.
Yeah, I mean these aircraft when in flying formation, they basically circled the airfield as they took
Yes.
off. And then they gradually got into positions, but the planes that took off earlier had to wait for the others to catch up, and they did that in a circle. Yeah, so
Yes.
can't you explain that to everybody?
Oh, yeah, just a moment that I
Yeah,
found
sure.
it again. Okay. Okay, so basically the bomber formations of the 15 Air Force, but I think that they were for the heavy bomb groups, they were all pretty the same. Were made by two attack units or more, and in this attack, every attack unit was made by a box. The box was named with the typical language Able, Baker, Charlie, Dog Box, Easy Box, and every box had 7 aircrafts. Uh, Usually the bombers also flew at different altitudes. This varied also on every bomb group and what the CO, the commanding officer, decided. And usually, what I heard from veterans' accounts is that the tail positions of these boxes were the most dangerous. In particular, the Thailand Charlie, for example, or Thailand Dog. Thailand Dog is the one where Jenny Lee was located were among the most exposed to enemy attacks. And I think that's pretty much that I will say.
So what you see here, these boxes might be at different altitudes. They were also across from each other. You don't want the bombs hitting your own planes,
Yes.
although that did happen. And what you see there is that's the pilot's name, right? And
Yeah,
then
sure.
and
Mhm.
then the unit, then the aircraft's number below that. And those are the
Yeah,
positions. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So there is the last 3 digits of the tail number, and I think that the other was is the battle number that was painted on the plane. I also want to pinpoint that on the Able box there is also McGovern, which is a pretty famous person in America. He ran for presidentials also in during the Vietnam War, and he was a famous member of the 455th bomb
Hmm.
group, but he was in another squadron.
Hmm.
So that's it.
Yeah, and D-Box, Jenny Lee was down there under the pilot's name, right?
Yeah,
Binkley.
missing in action, Binkley. Yes.
Hmm. So the
Yeah,
crash, no, go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, I got a question. I was Googling something here, and there's a AI, artificial intelligence summary said the B-24 bomber known as Jenny Lee crashed near Acadia in Italy, killing all 10 crew members. And then it says during a flight in poor weather conditions on the 11th of November. So that's wrong, isn't it? It was the
Yeah, yeah,
25th of December.
yeah. I can show you the missing aircrew report.
So I think you need to get some information up there to stop Chat
24
GPT.
December 44.
25th Christmas Day, isn't that appalling?
Yeah.
And what was the Binkley? What was his first name? I've forgotten what his first name is now.
Wendell Howard.
Gwendale.
Wendell.
Wendell or Gwendell?
That's right
Wendell.
I
there.
don't know how to pronounce it. Wendell.
Yeah, Wendell.
Oh, Wendell Binkley. I say Wendell Winky. Um, got it.
And this has the addresses of their next of kin, right?
Yes. For example, there is the wife of the pilot Wendell, that is the mother of the son that I know is still alive. I talked
Oh,
Ah,
right.
with
So when you said that you met someone who's born in 1940,
yes.
that's the son of Wendell Binkley. Is that correct?
the
Uh,
son,
can you
right?
repeat
This.
the question?
Well, you said that you met someone who's born in 1940. You
Oh
said,
yes, that's the year that his son was born.
and that is Wendell Binkley. But I thought he was 21, so it's 40. If he's
No, Wendell Binkley was born, if I'm not wrong, in 1920. I
okay,
should have his registration card too. Also, that's him. That's Wendell Binkley, and the registration card is there. Yes, 1920. You can see it
got it.
there.
Alfonso, so this, the plane hit the top of the mountain and then what was left of it came down on the other side. Is that roughly right?
Yes, yes. I have pictures of it too. So this is the impact point. Can you see the pictures?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the impact point. As you can see, the gentleman told me that back then there was a crater, but then with rain, with floodings, and with also agricultural works, it was it became
Filled
less
in?
visible. But if you zoom it, you can see a little depression at the center of it. I don't know if you can see my mouse that pinpoints
Yeah.
it,
Yep.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there is a little hollow zone in it, and that's where there was the first impact, and then the crash happened here. So he flew where you can see the wind turbine here, the first one. He came from here after the impact, and then he crashed and at the far right at the bottom. I should have also another picture of it here at the center of this picture. That's the final resting place of Jennie Lee. Here.
So all the bodies that they found were at the final resting place, right?
Yeah, they were scattered in this area. Some were still in the plane, some were outside of it.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, they were near the top uh, of that mountain when they hit it. And the plane must have stayed somewhat intact, although it was was probably already on fire when it
Yes.
came down right over here.
Yeah, my idea is that when it first impacted, it was already beaten up, so it was already tearing apart, and then in the during the final fall from the picture doesn't make it realize, but it's really high. It probably shattered, and then it finally separated here.
Now you've been on this field and looked for things. Did you use metal detector or did somebody have one?
Yes, I used the mine.
But what was it like when you first got there, and what did you find at least the first time you were there?
Okay, so the first time that I started searching, I was there with there was also the major could wasn't available for that day, but there was a council member of the municipality of Arcadia, and also there were other researchers, a friend of mine that helped me. This was one of the very first researches that I made, and uh, and there was one of the eyewitnesses that I showed in the presentation, Lorenzo Paoletta.
Hmm.
And in my opinion, if I found pieces of this aircraft, is because of him, because the zone is huge and you can't know, at least you can know if you didn't see it where you can find pieces. Lorenzo saw the crashed plane and so he pinpointed the zone. And this is the area that he said where the pieces were located, where the greatest parts of the aircraft were located, and that's where I found the majority of the pieces.
And these were just pieces of aluminum and maybe some bolts and other things?
Yeah, they were molten pieces of aluminum.
Hmm.
There were some different pieces. For example, it's very interesting, the bomb site, the northern bomb site part. I want to donate that part to the Bombardier family when maybe they will come to Italy, hopefully, or I will send it to them. And so, yeah, they are random parts of the aircraft, but still a great testimony of the crash. Also, the molten aluminum parts confirm that it burned really hard.
Do you find any aluminum parts or other parts from the aircraft that had any kind of maker's name or monogram on it, indicating,
Uh,
what company built that part of the aircraft?
Oh yeah, actually, I sent five of the pieces that I found to the president of the 455th Bomb Group, and then he made a display in 2024 at the 15 Air Force reunion that was done in Tucson, Arizona, in that year. And among the pieces that I sent him, there was a part related to the pilot controls, the two pilot controls, and it had a serial number. I couldn't translate it because I don't have the parts catalog. But yeah, that was I think that was the only part that had any sort of stamp on it.
So
I
you
have pictures
found, yeah,
of
go
the
ahead.
reunion too.
So you found
That's
elements of the controls and of the bomb site which would have been close to those particular men when they were killed.
Yeah, so that's I think the only piece directly related to someone, excluding that pilot's part that I gifted to the president.
Yeah.
And that's the display of the 455th Bomb Group at the 2024 15 Air Force reunion in Tucson, Arizona. And you can see here Jennie Lee under the third uniform from left, the first.
Hmm.
The first displays of Jennie Lee. I should have another picture of it. Yeah. So that's the piece that was showed there.
Wow.
That's a Facebook page. What is it? Is which face?
Oh, it's
What
my profile. It's just my profile, and there are it's
on
published on
Facebook? Yeah.
the yeah it's published on the Facebook group of the 455th Bomb Group.
Okay, very interesting. Alfonso, you might consider reaching out to the Stories Behind the Stars, Rona Shaw, who's based in North Carolina, and she is compiling the biographies. They're attempting to combine all the biographies of every single American serviceman and woman who died in the Second World War.
Mhm.
So that's another way of preserving the memory of the men that you have identified on this plane, because there'll be information about their death, but not the circumstances. So it's called Stories Behind the Stars. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
way.
a great way to remember them. Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Just have a
I
look.
added Yes, I added infos of them also on Find a Grave, which is I think a lot of you will know this website, and it's a great source also of
Oh, well, you know it.
information
Well
on the
done. Okay,
servicemen.
well, I'm telling you what you know.
So have you, how many times did you visit that site?
I think around four,
Hmm.
should have been four times.
Hmm. And you have pictures of, as you've shown, of the Jenny Lee, right, with the crew, like you have there.
Yes, in particular, this picture is not made by its crew. There is only the navigator Marsh, is this guy here.
Yeah.
It's hidden by the blue, but it's of the one standing is the one in the middle. And yes, so these are the only two pictures of Jenny Lee.
Hmm.
this is there is a captain which maybe is the guy, I don't know, the original pilot, and there are two men that are dressed in ground crew's garments,
Yeah.
the cap, the A3 mechanic cap, and the D1 mechanic jacket. So I think there are parts of the original flight crew and the original ground crew.
Hmm. So what happened to the parts of the engine, which were certainly many of those are not aluminum? So what happened to the four engines? I mean, you may not know, and it's certainly long enough. I'm just wondering if you found any parts of them, or did you get any history on what happened to the engines and some of the other and the radio equipment and other things on the plane?
Okay, so actually I have informations on them, and from what I know, only the bombs, the engines, and of course the bodies of the crew were the only parts related to the aircraft that were recovered. And so, like the bombs, the from what the eyewitnesses told me, the engines were recovered some years after the crash. And so that's all I know. They were
No, this,
recovered from
yeah.
what they say.
All right, no, good. The story that you showed, where somebody talked about the fuse, I mean, the bomb fuses were little explosive charges that under certain conditions would detonate, and that
Yes.
set off the main explosive inside the canister of the bomb. So had they removed the fuse and were playing with it when they set it off? I mean, obviously, if it was still in the bomb, they'd have been blown to bits. So
Yes. I don't know honestly. From what I have the original video of the interview with the subtitles in English. If you want, I can also show that.
yeah,
And it's only long like 2 minutes or so. And from what I could understand, they found it on the ground, so maybe it separated on the crash. I don't know, or they removed it. It did not disclose this information. Maybe it did not remember it. But I'll show you the video so you can figure out yourself. There are pictures also of Campo Marino on my Facebook. So yeah, here we have the.
but you can link to his page, right? And we can do that from our Facebook page so people can get to all this.
Yeah, it's all on my Facebook page. You can send me a friend request. I accept you, and you'll see everything. Okay, so this
Yes,
is the video. I don't know
yeah,
if you can hear the audio, but the subtitles should be enough.
yeah,
Enough.
yeah. The fuse was separated.
Yeah, they took the fuse out, and it was the fuse that went off, not the bomb.
Right. Yeah, you wouldn't have this video if that, that was the case. Hmm. Yeah, I
So
mean, it's, no,
I
go
can ask,
ahead.
so the plan is that you're going to have a commemoration event next
Yeah,
year?
that was the original plan. Actually, it was scheduled in the original idea for 2025, but sadly, the president of the 455th Bomb Group could not make it this year, and I don't know if for 2026 he can be here. So I just froze the situation, and I'm waiting for news from him. And when he will say, yes, I'm coming, I wanted also to invite the families and why not also the people like you that I knew in Campo Marino.
And you want to that point to put some commemoration plaque on the site. Is that the plan?
Not on the site, but in the town because the site is hardly reachable.
Got it.
It's literally up in the mountains.